Hey guys, this is Michael Cromwell with PCGmedia. This is just a quick video going through the first showcase scenario on the Arma 3 Alpha. It's going to be supplementary to my preview that I'm just writing at the moment. What I wanted to do was really show you guys what Arma 3 is capable of in terms of infantry combat, and because they've changed the control scheme so much in this installment to the last, that a lot of people are going to be slightly confused as to why it feels a bit more Twitch this time. There'll be a comparison to Arma 2 on the website, but movement in Arma 2 was designed to really emulate real life, so it would simulate your thought process first, so you would see an enemy and then your gun would react. So when you turned your head would move and then your gun would move with your head after that. So it was criticized a lot for being incredibly sluggish, and you would be able to see the video on the site. But they've completely got away with that now. What you see is what you get. You move your head and it moves the cursor with it in the third person as well. So what I really wanted to show you was just how that affects combat, and it gives you the illusion of safety as well. Now, one of the biggest criticisms people had with Arma, the series, is that enemies seems to be able to shoot you from, relatively long distances with pinpoint accuracy, and that's because that Arma isn't really a game in the strict sense. It's more of a simulation, and if you watch Live Leak and videos like that, military scenarios often are at long distances to very small, dot objects. You see a guy in the distance, it's often just a silhouette. You fire effectively, and that's kind of just how it is. And although that does mean that you're going to die a lot more, it's not all doom and gloom. So that's why I sort of made this video, just to show you exactly how you can maximize your potential in long distance shootouts like I'm doing here. Now, I'm not playing this live. This was recorded about 10-15 minutes ago, and what I want to do is just take you through that. Now, in Arma 3, you're given waypoints to follow. Now, it seems intuitive in this case. There's a valley surrounded by two hills to go down the center of the valley. Now, obviously, although it feels as though you should do that, that's not what you should do, because if you go down the center of the valley, then the enemies have cover either side of you and you're going to just die. So what I've done here is I've gone up the right-hand side where I have the benefit of the hills and the rocks and everything to stop me from being killed. So sticking to cover and firing effectively is the best way to get through. Now, a lot of people have said that it's impossible to hit targets at long distances, and it really isn't. Now, what you've got to try and do in Arma 3 is focus on one-shot kills. That's essentially what you need. One bullet is enough to kill any enemy, so long as you hit them in the right place. So take it easy, take your time, and try and hit the body or the head. And it's really not that hard to do. If you get them exactly where the crosshair is, these relatively medium to long distances, there's not much bullet drop. Here you can see an example of the new CTRL W, CTRL S positioning. So now you can actually position up, I think it's up to 6 to 8 different height positions to keep you in cover. And this does actually help against the enemy AI as well. Here you can see the new reticle that they've added for third-person shooting. You got there now. You can see it just before. There it is. I'm not a fan of that at all. I much preferred the little line sight they had in third person in Arma 2. That was much nicer for me. This is something I hope they'll change, because right now that's not hugely useful. They will soon be using it later. Again, if you're new to Arma, you'll probably want to follow your squad and rely on them and turn around to them. But really, when you're playing with AI, what you really want to focus on doing is figuring out what's the best route yourself and not straying too far away from the crowd, because if you're in a big firefight with everyone else, there's a big chance that you'll get killed with them. You'll see in this gameplay footage that most of my team just get killed anyway, and the AI has never been great in Arma. It's not particularly improved here, although they say it has. Yeah, I took a grenade to the face there, but not too much damage. So yeah, sticking to prone, getting a sense of where the enemy is. Spatial awareness is very important, and if you see an enemy, it's not always the best thing to do to just try and shoot them before they shoot you. Sometimes just running away or sticking to the ground, something like that, like I'm doing here, is the best way forward. So you can see how the third-person crosshair is actually fairly useful in this case. It's not too bad here, even at long distances, as you can see here. So I'm not being killed right now because I know where all of the enemies are, and I've got myself in a position where I'm a very small target. It's unlikely they're going to hit me. It's not always best to be crouching, Sometimes sitting looking like a schoolboy waiting for lunch is also good. It's a really neat feature. I'm glad that they put this in. It's one of my favourite features in this installment of the game anyway. So what we're doing now is we're going to head into this town and just try and mop up. Just wait for these guys to catch up.
Alright, Alpha. Looks like we're clear. Thanks for the assist. Papa Bear, this is Bravo. We've taken casualties, but the village is ours.
Okay, let's
Please
go.
advise, over.
Copy that. Alpha, Bravo, entrench your positions and await further orders. Clear. Charlie's now en route with support for your wounded. Out.
Performance-wise, I'm using an AMD 8150 clock to I think 4.2 gigahertz, and I'm using a GTX 680 stock with 8 GB of RAM. I haven't really played with the graphical options too many. They're quite extensive in Arma, and it's really hard to get a sense of what's going on. But I've got shadows and textures and everything on maximum, and I've turned view distance down a bit. I'll need to tweak that later because performance isn't great. It plays around 30-40 frames per second, which is enough for this game. It's a very deliberate game. It's not really Twitch, although they've changed the controls to mirror Battlefield 3. Before, holding shift would send you into slow motion like I am now, but now it's pressing W and S together, which is a bit finicky for me. Shift has been changed to sprint. You run incredibly quickly, which I hope is something they'll nerf. I think it's because of the long distances associated with Arma games, so people can run further, but for me, I'm not a fan of that. I'd much rather have shift as slow motion, well, not slow motion, but walk. Because for me, sprint's not a big deal. Double tapping W was enough for me. I don't know why they've changed that. Again, here, relatively easy to take enemies down at short distances with the new Twitch mechanics. It's still a bit clunky, but it's not nearly as clunky as it was. Clunky was never really a problem for me. Again, when you're in towns in Arma, it's best to stick to cover. You're never going to be able to be completely concealed, so there's just no point. You will sometimes just get shot by an enemy you didn't see, but sticking to walls, things like that, that's usually pretty useful in crouching. So right now we're going to find out that there is a mortar squad somewhere in the town. Not in the town, outside the town. So I'm just looking for them now. I didn't know where they were. They weren't on the map. So we'll just wait for that. Town's getting mortared again. Sticking to the walls is always best. Just don't worry about where your squad is, they're not too important right now.
Spot is located. Patch it in the live feed.
So here's a live feed of where the mortar spotters were. I don't really know how to make sense of that. That's not entirely useful to me, but they are located on my map. I'm not quite used to the new map mechanics in Arma 3, although it's relatively similar. I don't have a waypoint just yet, so I'm waiting for a waypoint to tell me where to go. So if you press M, you'll see the map markers. There they are. So I don't have a waypoint right now, so even though it told me where they are, oh yes I can, the top one there shows me it in difficulty, so that top one I missed, now you can see over there, eliminate. So yeah, another thing with Arma a lot of people didn't like is now I have to run all the way up the top of that hill on my own for some reason to kill 2 spotters, and the whole squad won't go, it'll just be me. So I'll sprint up there now. I think I skipped to 4 times speed. It's another good feature in Arma 3. If you're getting bored or if there's a long distance, you can just tap the plus and negative keys on your keyboard. It'll increase the game time by 4 times. You could do that in Arma 2 as well, so that's something that they kept. Playing this coming from Arma 2, it's incredibly intuitive, aside from the controls. I'll talk about the vehicle controls. The helicopter controls in particular are completely fucked. I don't know, they need to change that, especially for Xbox. You know, yaw is the same as fire, so if you want to yaw right, you've got to fire as well at the moment if you're using an Xbox pad for flying the helicopter, which I always found was the easiest thing to do. So yeah, I'll talk about that a bit in the preview, but right now let's keep focusing on infantry. So I have to run all the way up this valley to take out 2 mortar spotters who are mortaring my guys, which is a bit lame of them. So again, I think we're running at 4 times speed right now, I'm not sure. Either way, incredibly fast sprint. I'm not sure why they thought that was a great idea when you could increase speed anyway. So yeah, that along with the Twitch shooting mechanics now and the more casualized controls, not a huge fan of that. because everything is so slow and deliberate anyway, there's no need for such fast twitch movement. And although it felt clunky, it kind of, for me, it worked fine. But I'll show you a comparison video of that on the preview. So here are the spotters crawling around. There's one down. And the second one, here he is. So that's done. For some reason the game bugs out and I failed at killing the spotters, even though that's what I just did. So I'm not entirely sure why that happened. But I am alive nonetheless, having killed many of the enemy. And that, in a nutshell, is the mission finished. We just have to retreat now. So I'll have a quick look as to where my guys are. I have no control, I'm not the commander at the moment. All I can do is really watch. The AI is quite responsive. It's more responsive in this than it was in the previous 2 Arma games and expansions, and Iron Front for that matter. So they've improved things somewhat. But yeah, as you can see, anyone jumping into Arma 3 from Battlefield 3 or any other game like that, it can be quite overwhelming, it can be quite confusing, it can feel as though enemies have pinpoint accuracy at you from long distances, and they do, but you do as well. That's the thing. If you keep an eye out and you pay attention to your spatial awareness, and you get a sense of where everyone is, you stay low, you use the different cover, the different abilities, the different way to crouch in different positions. If you use that, try and stay unseen, just use a bit of tactics and logic, then you should be fine. You can kill anything, a tiny speck with just the crosshair if you have a mouse that's good enough. It's just a matter of being slow and deliberate. You can't run into things and just expect to react. Arma is about planning first, and reacting to the changing scenario. It's not about running in and then just reacting to whatever enemy you see, because they will shoot you before you shoot them. So that's that mission completed. So I do like Arma 3's infantry changes to some extent, because as you can see from this video, it has potential for fun. So that's everything I have to show you right now. The link to the preview will be in the description where I talk about everything else. This was just a supplementary infantry video that I've recorded for you, so have fun.